I'm a little bit early. Hopefully the screen won't play up tonight, because I'm actually going straight through the Facebook server, so fingers crossed. Now I've actually got, for those that are starting to join, I'm just checking that it's appearing on the app. Those that are starting to join, please check the description beside the video or below the video, wherever it appears, or above, and you'll actually see the little instructions that I've got there. Make sure that you only select one of the topics. Don't go giving me a story. I just want one topic, which we're going to do something very different tonight. And this way we can focus on, for the month of March, which is what we're about to enter into. Itchy nose. We're going to focus on that topic. So I'm just waiting for the people to join. I've got one. So welcome. Don't be a stranger. Okay, so Francis, you want health. I'm just going to make a note of the names. So don't forget, read the description. Hello, Rachel. Thank you for joining. In the description, it's going to be just a very quick read for the month of March. I'm not going to stay, for 10 minutes per person type of thing. It's going to try and condense it into a very short, quick read, so that we can focus directly on the topic of your choice. So we've got love, finances, health, and also family. Keep in mind, I'm not a practitioner. I'm not a registered doctor. I do not diagnose people. I can tell you what I see, but if you have any real problems that you're concerned about, I would always recommend the person go and see a local GP or a specialist. This is something that really, when it comes to psychics of any nature, really shouldn't be left up to us to do a diagnosis on anybody. We can see, whether you're going to feel run down or whether things are going to improve. But as far as, diagnosing, it can be a very touchy subject, because some people could, get panicked, and so got to be careful. Hi, Josephine. I can see some people joining. Now, just write down one topic from the list that I've provided in the description, and I will write that beside your name so that I can focus on that once we've got everybody in the room. Okay, Angela Thomaset wants love. Okay, we've dropped a person. So this is just for the month of March. And because it's keeping it to a minimum as a one card type of thing, even if you did book with myself or anyone else, it's not going to affect your reading. So I try to keep it so that it doesn't affect anybody's reading, unless I actually do a, like give away a reading, then, which could be about half an hour's worth. Then that would be considered a reading, which means you would have to wait at least 3 months between, getting another reading. So have we got any more joining? Okay, we've dropped down to 3. It's like we were up there and now we're dropping back. So let's see.
Hopefully the screen won't
just
play
making sure
tonight.
that volume's good. Okay, just making sure I haven't missed anybody. Okay. Oh, it's not necessary for the name, Jackie. But thanks for putting that anyway. I'm just going to focus on the name that I've got you writing against. So, okay, Carol Sutherland, love. Hello, Joanne. Thank you for joining. So don't forget, write down the subject. Just one word is all you need. So that way we can use that as a focus. Rachel says finances. Josephine says health. Let's hope we've got some good news for you. So I'm just taking down the names at the moment and the topic. Joanne says family. Varsha says love. And we've got some news. One of my staff members has got engaged, Susanna. She is doing the girls' thing tonight, so they're having a bit of a celebration. Okay, so Lauren says health. We've got everything matching. I don't think they're watching at the moment. I think they're too excited. So I said, go out, have fun. So, yeah, she's a lovely girl. Very, very polite, just a really, really nice natured person. So yes, congratulations, Susanna, if you are watching, which I don't think you are. I've never seen anybody so happy that they cry. I mean, I was like that when I found my father, but she was just over the moon. And I said to her that I saw a gift coming. I didn't want to say what I thought at that time, which I did say, I feel something's romantic and there's a gift coming. She said, she said, if it's another box of chocolates, I'm going to hit him over the head. And it wasn't. It was a box with a ring in it. Very, very lucky girl. Okay, so we've got Lauren with health, Lockie with finance. Anybody else? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. Yep, all in order. Okay, Denise Smith says family. Hello, Denise. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all the people that are participating. I know that when I read the thing that some people have to work, I know that feeling. My last reading last night finished at 1 a.m. and my eyes by the end of it were like literally hanging out of my head. So we've got, okay, so the last one was Denise Smith with family. Sonia wants family. Family. Sometimes they pop up on that window that's on my computer, and sometimes they pop up in the app. So I've got to look at both screens. That's sort of typical. Sometimes I'm finishing around midnight. That's why I won't start any earlier than 11, because it gives me time to get housework done. It gets me time to just sort of, relax a little or have a shower or something like that, just to sort of freshen up before I start my day. And today I had some errands I had to run around and do. So I was like, bugger the housework. It can wait. It's still going to be there. It'll wait for me. Wouldn't it be lovely to be like the Jetsons, where you just push a button and everything is done for you? That's the kind of future I would like. So have we got any more people coming? It's going to have a drink. That's why sometimes when I get on live streams, I look really haggard. Hope you don't think I was being rude earlier. I was just racing around getting stuff sorted so I didn't get interrupted. What did you say? I have to go back and have a look and see if you were rude. Where are we? Let's have a look. Oh, no, that wasn't rude. That was my way of talking. So no airs and graces here. Just be yourself. Without swearing, of course. So, oh, Carol. you and Jemana are good for my ego, I tell you. She's so sweet. Every time she gets on, she says, beautiful, stuff like that. I mean, if I was like, taking it to my head would be too big to get through the door. But I have, like last time, I just felt, and even when I look back at the live stream, I thought, oh, terrible. Yes, that's right. The Jetsons would be wonderful. Absolutely. Okay, Kim wants health. Okay. Yeah, we've had some funny things happen through the week. My daughter came into my room the other day when I was, getting ready. She said, Mum, I have a trampoline in my room. And I said, you have what? She said, a trampoline. I said, don't go jumping on the bed. She said, no, the floorboards are bouncing. So guess what we've got to get done? Floorboards. We've got to get them reinforced. And, I noticed that because my house is really old, very, very old. I mean, there's so much that you can do to the place because it's heritage listed. So when they're heritage listed, you're sort of like, what can you touch? What can't you touch? And it's amazing. Even if you own the place, you get told you can't do this, you can't do that. But the floor, oh God, they need reinforcing. I noticed that a wardrobe, because I don't have built-ins, I'm very old-fashioned. I've got this old wardrobe, and I noticed that it was sort of leaning forward. And I thought, okay, this is so weird, because I've been tossing up whether to just sell and go somewhere else. I don't know. But I've got so many visitations here, and I've even had spirits say to me, you can't leave. You mustn't leave here. So I don't know. I mean, like, they're going to follow me anyway, but I think it's the ones that have been here from the time it was built, basically. But yeah, it's so expensive. All right. My beautiful soul shines through. Oh, God love you. If that was the case, I wouldn't be wearing makeup on here. But thank you very much for the compliments. I sort of have a little difficulty taking compliments, to be honest with you, but I it's very nice of you. So is anybody else leaving a... You can hear my dog. Leaving a request? Anybody? From the list in the description. If you're on a mobile, it would be above the video, I think. That's what it is on mine. And on the browser, it would be on the site. So I can see we've got people watching, but we haven't got everybody. Okay. All right, so let's Yes, you can change your mind, Sonia. So Sonia wants finances. Where are you, Sonia? Okay, sorry, had to what? I think there's something to do with Carol Sutherland. My daughter had to take my daughter and granddaughter home. Okay, Brooke Leanne, family. Okay. That's what her name. Family for Crystal. Okay. All right, so once I begin, I'm not going to go and stop and then have a look at anyone else posting up anything. This is why I'm giving you a chance now to write down from the list which topic you want me to pull a card on and see what it has for you. So there's Jumana. I told you. Thank you, Jumana. She wants to talk about love. Why am I not surprised? Jumana El Chami, love. Ellen Marie, health. Brooke Leanne, you've got family down. Is that still what you want? Okay, so family. Where are we? Okay, well, let's get started. Now, I'm going to close this request. So everyone just sit back and listen out for your name. And we're going to start with Jackie, who goes by Francois Jackie. Okay, so we're all right to go. Okay, let's start. So I'm going to ask Spirit to provide some guidance and show me the energy that is around Francois Jackie, and I'm going to say that name anyway because that's what I've written down, regarding health for the month of March. So Spirit, guiding through these cards, please provide the answer. For the month of March. Okay. Now, what I'm actually picking up for you is for the month of March, in regards of health, I actually see that there is an easing around this. It feels as though whatever is going on, if it's been like a flare up of any kind, it's going to calm, it's going to settle. So I'm actually getting that, settling feeling. You're going to have a break from things as well. It may even give you a chance to recuperate. So I actually get a very positive sign around this in regards of health. It feels as though there's been a lot of worry connecting with health. So if this is relating to that particular thing, and as I mentioned too, I'm not a doctor, so I need everybody to understand who has selected health that I can't diagnose you and tell you whether you've got cancer or anything like that, because it is something that, if you are worried about anything in particular, always go and see your trained physician or, a specialist in that field. But from what I'm seeing is that this is like taking you to a calmer situation in regards of your health. I'm getting that feeling of just, getting away from it, taking that break. But it also means in this, because I'm actually getting the swords turning up, that there is a lot on your mind. So that may be where I'm picking up worry with that as well. So if you've got, stress or worry, and that is what's affecting your health, that could be the core of it, but it may trigger other things as well. So that's yours, Francois. Jackie? Sorry. I always get an itchy nose when I'm doing this. All right, so let's go on to the next person, who is Angela Tomset. And the question that Angela has, or the topic I should say, is love for the month of March. Okay, so Jackie wrote, thank you. I've been to my GP. I'm getting treatment. I'm just happy to get a little advice and guidance. That's okay. But I do have to mention that, as you can understand, because, there have been cases in the past, not through me, but there have been cases in the past elsewhere. And I thought, okay, there was one case, I can't remember what country, I think it must have been America, where a person went to a spiritual guider and they actually stated there was something with their health that they detected, like a detector. And they picked up there was a problem around that person, to do with their armpits for some reason. And it was something like that. Anyway, the woman started to go into a panic in some way. And because of the panic, and she was instantly thinking cancer, she tried to commit suicide. And because of, the drama that it caused, it ended up this poor person who was asked about their health and everything, ended up before the courts. And I do not want that. Thank you very much. So that's why I do have to make mention. And I've said this in the past anyway. I'm not a trained physician. I am just a reader. I can tell you what I see, but, never ever stop medication if you go and see somebody or, that type of thing, because there is a reason you're on that medication. Sometimes it's because it helps pharmaceutical companies get rich, as we all know, but there are other things that, it may be beneficial to you, but you must always seek the specialist advice. That's what they're trained in. So where are we? I'm going to ask Spirit now to focus on Angela Tomset, who wants to know about loves. Okay. Now, what I'm actually seeing here is there's a bit of a run of bad luck regarding love, unfortunately, for the month of March. I'm getting this feeling of It may be a situation where you're feeling left out. You may be, it's like feeling like you don't want to participate in things, or just feeling, you know, cramped in the style, so to speak. That's how I would reference this. It is actually turning up a pentacles. So when we see pentacles, normally that refers to finances and security, but, you know, linking the two together, the link of, you know, security / love, this feels as though there's that type of, you know, like, I want to be a part of things, but I just can't bring myself to ask for help, or I can't bring myself to connect with people around me. So what this is stating is that if you are feeling like you're out in the cold when it comes to love and so on, then perhaps you need to redouble your efforts to get noticed. It could be that this is going to be a time for you to start changing some old habits. And usually when I see a situation where a person is going into, or they're focusing on love as an example, and they're getting a card that shows a negative, it doesn't mean that it's for all time. It's just that at that time, there's a reason for this stagnation. There's a reason for this pause, if you want to put it, regarding emotions, love, and so on. And this may be that you've got to focus on other things. You may be, you know, more preoccupied with work. Whatever this means to you, it's suggesting that there is a pause there. There is that feeling of, you know, a struggle, and it may be your own struggles. You know, sometimes we have our own little, you know, demons, if you want to put it that way, that we can't get past in order to, you know, break that ice and start something new. And if it comes to relationships around you, this may be where you're withdrawn. You may be feeling like, I don't want to really communicate. I will just sort of wait it out until things just happen on their own, because it shows me these people that are walking past a house, and they're walking past this house, and I'll give you the example of it. Inside this house, there's a light and everything, and they are absolutely weathered. They are feeling run down. They are trying to fight off the elements and keep their head up, but at the same time, they don't want to ask for help, because if they ask for help, it's sort of like, I feel uncomfortable. Then this help that's suggested through the card may also be implied to, I don't want to make more of an effort than I have. I feel like, you know, things are against me at this time, but it may be your time to reinvent yourself, if you want to look at it that way. Sometimes we have to take, you know, the initiative. And in this case, for the month of March, it's saying that there is that, you know, sort of like a delay that you put around yourself there. So it's not saying it's not offered, it's available to you. The only thing is that you seem to be walking past it as well. Perhaps you're not making, you're redoubling the efforts, if that makes sense to you. So that's what's coming through for the month of March. And that was for Angela Tomset. Carol Sutherland also wants to focus on love. Okay. All right. Now, Carol, it appears that you may also be in a position where there's that walking away or trying to avoid certain contact with certain people. I'm getting shown a person is taking what they can, and they're just cutting their losses and walking away from things. Now, this may be that whatever you've been putting time and energy into, you might be starting to look at, you know, leaving that. So sometimes, again, we go back to other things that consume our lives. If we are too busy putting in the hours of work and we don't have much of a social life, that might be a time where we're going to say, well, you know what? I need to think about me. I need to start doing things for me now. So this might be suggesting for the month of March that there's something that you've got to sacrifice in some way, you know, either give up, you know, putting more effort and time into housework when you could be putting that into relationships around you or getting out and socializing. Because this card is actually suggesting a person who is, you know, they're trying to sneak away, trying to sort of, you know, escape their communication with other people. I do see, it's like, I want to get out. I get that feeling like I want to get out. I just want to, you know, get time alone. I want to just do what I want. And there is an element there of independence that comes through as well. So hopefully you'll understand what that means. But for the month of March, it's not actually suggesting a hot romance, if you want to put it that way. It's basically suggesting that, you know, there's that feeling of wanting to escape and wanting to avoid confrontations. So hopefully you will understand what that means. Tennille, I've closed it already. So, all right. Just one. That's it. Okay, Tennille, Rogers, love. Okay. I'm just going to type in no more. I'm doing the reads now. Okay, have to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to have, you know, people turning up and then adding to that. All right, so we're looking at Rachel Fung, who's asking about finances. All right. All right. Well, Rachel, it appears that there is news on its way. And this is for the month of March. I'm actually getting a new start. There's new beginnings. There's new opportunities. It does actually show promise of new possible work. News that definitely comes through from a financial level. So it's sort of like you begin to enjoy what you're putting out. It's like rewards that are coming through. So the card's actually very promising in regards of finances. I do see a marked improvement with this, and it may be that you're already waiting on news. Usually I get this feeling of applications or changes going on. So it is a very positive card that I get for you. Hopefully this makes sense to you. That's all I can say. You're just, you know, on the up with this card. I'm getting a very positive element, and this is actually the Page of Pentacles that comes through. Thank you, Glynis. No, that's okay, Tennille. I should have probably put it up earlier, but, you know, me. Bob Hope's sister, no hope. Okay, so the next person, that was Rachel. Josephine Babick wants to ask about health. Okay. Okay, it appears that you're going to have a choice around you, Josephine. It may be that you've got to choose between two things. what I see is that we have decisions to be made, and I feel that there's a lot of progress, that whatever you're doing or about to embark on is going to be bringing a lot of, opportunity there. Now, sometimes people do tend to procrastinate around this. What I'm actually seeing is the Lovers card in this particular sense, and usually around the Lovers card we have the symbol of the angel that also appears in the Judgment, which Judgment is usually connected to hospitals and connections with nursing and medication and possible bed rest and so on. So when I look at this card and I'm looking at it on the focus of health, I feel that there is a decision that's about to be made. I feel that this may be something in relation to a medication or a different brand of medication. I don't know whether you're on something at the moment. I'm not going to even query that. I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing here. I feel that there is the rising of the circumstances. It's like having more of a connection with people who can help you. But as I said, there's a choice. There's the decision that you've got to make. And it may also be when I look at this and I'm getting that feeling of connecting with the sun, which is also, a vibrant, powerful energy around us. It's a life force, if you want to put it that way. And then we've got the sign of the Judgment sitting inside this card. It suggests to me that you might even possibly need to discuss possible, hospital stay or something that can avert that. So whatever it is, it's showing an improvement regardless, but there is also a decision you've got to make. And it's like your choice here. So this is the beauty of that card, is actually bringing an opportunity for you to be in control of your own choices and decisions. But don't procrastinate, because otherwise it can, it can get worse. But I actually feel that this is showing a lot of abundance. It's showing improvement. It shows me that things are on the up, so as far as, when I look at health also, especially relating to this card in my own interpretation, I feel that it's like you're starting to see clearer. I get that feeling like the fog being lifted, things starting to be more revealed to you, having more of an understanding about, what's going on and so on. But I'm also seeing that you can't be tempted as well. It might even actually include watching diet around this. So I'll leave that with you. But that was for your health, Josephine, for the month of March. So hopefully that's helped you. And the next person, Joanne Alkin, who is asking about family. And just a reminder that I have closed the requests. So we're on to Josephine Alkin now, who is asking about family. Okay. Okay. Now, for the month of March, Joanne, it actually is suggesting that you've got to see things from a new perspective with people and communication around you. It may mean that you've got to take advantage of whatever delay there is in communication and see things from another person's perspective. Sometimes we get bogged down to the point where we are, dogmatic in our attitude. We have one way of seeing things and we're missing that whole communication process. I am actually seeing that there is, we've got the Hanged Man, if you want to put it that way. So the Hanged Man, just to show you, is this card here. Now, if you have a look, he is on the tree. He's suspended by his foot. And as you can see, his foot also crosses over, which is behind his leg, which is saying there are some things that you don't really have to talk about. There are some things that you can, take a step back and look at things differently. So obviously, if you turn something upside down and you see things from another person's perspective, it gives you a better understanding of what's going on. But I feel that communication here is really important, especially with family. So when we're looking at the family symbol, which is what you've asked about, the topic, I'm seeing this is don't pull any punches, so to speak. And as you can see in that picture, he's got his hands behind his back. So it's like, don't pull any punches, keep restraint, be balanced in your way of thinking, be understanding and open to receive whatever information is going on around you. Pay attention to things, and also, start thinking that, okay, maybe if that person's wrong, I could be wrong too. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding things as well. But I feel that around you, you've got a lot of blossoming beginning to happen. So if you have a look at this tree that he's hanging from, you can see like little shoots appearing in the background there. So these little shoots are actually indicating new beginnings, new opportunities starting within communication, within the family, and also brings about, that blossoming effect. So that's how I look at this card, in particular connections with the family itself. The other thing I see, when you look at the Hanged Man, of course, his hair's hanging down because of the gravity pull and everything like that. And sometimes this can also be that, it represents a youthfulness with this card. Because if you think about when we're laying down, all our wrinkles and whatever, they start to disappear. This is the same with the Hanged Man. It could be that the connection that you're focused on is around younger people, and the younger people connecting with children. It may be, someone very close to you who is acting immature, or they've got some behavior problems. So whatever this means to you, this card is being, pulled out for a reason. It's telling you that it's a time of just, being more relaxed, seeing things from another person's perspective. Let them talk. Don't interrupt and don't finish their sentence. Just allow the communication to flow without interruption. So hopefully that has helped you. So that is yours, Joanne Alkin. Varsha Mehra wants to know about love. So Josephine Babick says, no, I don't take medication at all. Okay, so what card did I pull for you? I'm trying to think. Okay, that was the Lover's card. So in regards, as I said, I don't diagnose. But with the Lover's card, it means that there are some decisions to be had. So when we look at that, in regards of health in particular, then it means that you've got to look at doing something differently. And it may be that there's self-improvement around this. You've got to make the decision. So it's not something that, can be made for you. You've got to make that decision on what you want. You'll have a choice of two things. Okay, no problem, Deb. All right, so Varsha Mehra wants to know about love. Spirit, please. Okay, now Spirit says, in regards of March, pertaining to love for you, Varsha, it is slow growth. I'm seeing you planting the seed, and you've got to be patient with this as well. Now, the slow growth is usually indicating here that by about the 7th day, you will have a new focus on things. But don't be too eager. Don't be too rushed. So we're looking at about the 7th of March here. I'm being shown that we do have new connections coming up around you. These new connections may actually, give you ideas. They may stir you to do something different in your life. But I'm being shown that this is a time where you've just got to be patient. It is a card that's symbolic of, okay, you've done your best. Now let God do the rest, if you want to put it that way. So you've planted the seed. You've started watching things begin manifesting in your life, but there may be, there may be a need for you to pause and reflect on things. So I'll show you the card for that. And this is the Seven of Pentacles. So with that Seven of Pentacles, as you can see, he was standing there. He's just watching, things around him, the communication and so on. He's standing there watching other people having what he wants, but it seems like it's taking forever. That's the kind of feeling that comes through with this. Perhaps what you need to do is look at, getting into something that's going to give you more of an outlet, a chance to be more, available, if you want to put it that way, and show people around you that you've got that willingness to start manifesting more of that love in your life. When I look at this person here, if you have a look particularly at his shoes, there are two different shoes that he has on, which when it comes to love, sometimes we're not paying attention to what's really going on. And we're so preoccupied with one thing on our mind that we're putting on the wrong shoes, if you want to put it that way. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but in this it symbolizes you're missing the fine details. There may be other things that you've got to focus on at this time. And it may be that you are just too preoccupied with that, idea of love, that you're not noticing how you're presenting yourself to others. So if you look at it in that context, then, it may be time to start changing something. It could be, are you hanging around people who are really going to help you meet and, or develop more of a love situation? Or is there interference going on? The questions will start to surface, obviously, but you'll have the answer anyway. And what this is saying here is you've got to start, treading more carefully about what you want love to manifest in its perfect way. If there are other problems going on, or if you're more caught up with work situations or money, trying to make ends meet, that type of thing, or feeling that you're not being, in a position of being respected or given the right amount of attention. Because this card, I can look at it on so many different levels here, especially when we're looking at love. So if you're feeling like, I feel left out, I feel like I'm not being given the right amount of attention that I deserve, I feel like I'm being ripped off, whatever it might be, you've got to be patient. And it is a test of patience for you, especially for the month of March. So hopefully this is making sense to you. Only you know what this means. So, from what I have shared with you from that, hopefully you do understand its message there. So the next person is Lauren Oliver. And the topic is health for Lauren. Yes, unfortunately, for those who are joining, I have cut off the requests. I had about, nearly half an hour or so of taking the requests. So I'm on to Lauren Oliver. Okay. All right, Spirit. Okay. I'm actually being shown, Lauren, that there is some big changes happening in regards of health. I don't know whether you've been getting like joint aches or pains, that type of thing, but I'm actually seeing somebody who is going to help get things moving along. I'm seeing two professionals coming into this. What's interesting here is I'm getting this sign of this person who seems to be to me, I connect more on a level of a person who's like a business owner. I don't know what this has to do with your health. But I'm getting shown what looks like a business owner. I'm seeing this to be a male. I'm seeing a connection also with, okay, as soon as I'm talking, I'm getting this like sharp pain in my head, like a migraine kind of thing. Not that I have a migraine. I'm just, as I'm talking and focusing on you, because I actually have court cards. So court cards are people cards. So when people cards come up and we're asking about a particular topic, and this in particular is the King of Pentacles, when we're focusing on this, I keep feeling that around this we have also, like as I'm looking into this, I'm trying to sort of like weave through this card to try and get more of a feeling of health issues. But as I'm doing this, I'm getting this feeling like a throbbing kind of feeling in my head. So I don't know whether you're having eye problems or you've got migraines or headaches, that type of thing. That's the kind of feeling, and it can actually be a spirit's way of saying there's stress going on, there's worry, whatever this is. I mean, stress can do a lot to a person's body and their health overall. So if you are feeling run down, I am seeing professionals stepping in, and this seems to be like a doctor or someone who has, you know, studied their profession. They are bringing, you know, a new direction around this particular health. I'm having a look in the background of this card too. And let me just get more of a feel on this, because it's a particular topic. What are you telling me, Spirit? Okay. Now, as I look over this, I feel that, okay, we've got his foot sticking out. So this is telling me that there may be something about moving forward here. Problems with moving forward, problems with the feet, problems with that area. And now I'm being shown what looks like a fortress in the background. So sometimes this can be our home or a place that is causing any type of health issues. If you think about London Bridge as an example, a long time ago, a little bit of history here, London Bridge, they used to build houses on it, and the water from the river would actually go seeping up into the stone and causing mold and all types of yucky things in the actual homes, which caused a lot of health issues. Eventually, the bridge was, you know, reported to be falling down. But in the meantime, there was actually, I believe, don't quote me, you might have to look it up, but I believe there was like the Black Death. And I'm not saying there's death around you, I'm not getting that. But what I'm being shown here is a situation that shows it's like being stuck, being in a situation of a home or a, you know, I'm using the term like a fortress, so to speak. So I'm not saying you're in a fortress. You might be locked in a tower somewhere waiting for Shrek to save you. But what this is showing me is that there is something that obviously needs to be looked at. I don't really know much about what I can tell you from this particular card that I've drawn, apart from what I'm feeling and the sensations that I'm getting. So if you can validate what I have picked up just on that, that would be great. As I'm sort of stuck on this when I'm focusing on health in particular, because so many different things come to me, and I feel like there may be a connection here with a male with dark hair, olive skin, dark eyes. But I feel like there's, in the background, it's like, is this person getting out enough? Are they Are they locking themselves up? Are they not getting enough vitamins? Things like that. Are they overworking? Because when we look at the King of Pentacles, this is also to do with work situations. So are you running yourself ragged? Maybe this is part of the health issue. All these things just seem to come to mind because of the fact that I look at the King. I'm seeing him sitting on his throne. And this isn't the toilet throne. This is the throne. And at his feet, we've got a lot of rock, which, again, it's like a very hard surface, but there's a lot of fertility around. There's a lot of growth and, promise there of things changing and growing. Sounds good for health, doesn't it? But I also get this feeling like there's contentment, but, again, it's like, are you doing enough? Or are you making that change already to seek a professional's opinion? Because I just feel like I'm run down, like I'm just relaxing now. But at the same time, I feel like there's promise, there's change. But you probably need also some vitamins from what is being shown here. So I'll leave it with you. Okay. So that was Lauren Oliver. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad it resonates with you because it doesn't make any sense to me. That's just how it's coming through. I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'll ask. At least I'm honest. Okay, so the next person is Lockie Cleary, who wants to know about finances. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. All right. Now, in regards of your circumstances, which is to do with finances for the month of March, Lockie, I actually get a feeling of being stuck. You seem to feel as though you can't escape something here from what I'm being shown. I see when I look at this card, and I'll show you the card, the Devil. Now, if you have a look at this card carefully, it's a little bit of education Karen style. We've got the Lovers standing in front of the Devil, and they've got chains around their neck. But if you notice the chains, they're very loose, which means that they can easily be lifted off. The Devil sits in the background with his hand up, which is indicative of, stop, pay attention to me. I hold everything. I take control here. But the thing is, what these people at the front, the Lovers, are indicating, which would be representing of you and your circumstances regarding finances, is that whatever you're feeling stuck with means that you have the control to escape this situation, but you choose to, put up with things. You choose to be in a position where, it's easier just to stay put and complain about my circumstances, especially where finances are concerned, rather than doing something about it. So if you are wanting more money, as an example, or you're feeling like you're not being appreciated again when it comes down to finances and so on, there may be time for you to look at something different. If your path at the moment, as another example, if you're focused on doing one particular trade and it's not working, maybe you need to reflect or do something different. Sometimes we have to switch our path, because our path, after a certain time, it becomes stagnant. And unless it's got something fertile upon it to grow and manifest things, it's going to remain stagnant and it'll become dormant after a while, which means that you'll be just going through the motions. So hopefully this makes sense to you. But what I see is, if you're feeling stuck in a situation, like, for example, you're unemployed, this card would suggest that, are you really making the effort that you think you're making, because the devil can play silly buggers with people. He can actually make a person believe that they're on the right track, that everything's going to go fine, and they've got it all in the bag. But he's the master of disguise. And I actually see the devil, believe it or not, in the magician deck. So when I have a look at the magician card, and I'm not saying I've got that in front of me, but when I look at the magician, I actually see the devil, because he's the master of illusion. He's the one who can disguise so many things. So what this is telling me is that at the moment, you probably need to start changing something also that might be holding you back. Now, keep in mind, if there is any connection with the occult around you, perhaps it's not right for you. Maybe, from what this card is suggesting here, and I'm just throwing it out, because sometimes this card turns up for people who shouldn't be doing readings. Either they're bringing more problems to themselves because they're going through a particular issue. Sometimes it can actually indicate that it causes great worry and stress and blocks you. Also be careful about, they say that people who sell their soul to the devil, they get everything, but in the end they suffer greatly. It's like, as soon as you try to escape that, he shuts the door. But what I'm seeing here is just be careful about whatever you're getting into, especially where finances are concerned, because maybe it's not right for you. Maybe you've got to look for a different passage. So hopefully you'll understand whatever that means. It's a personal message, whatever comes through. So yeah, I got a phone call. I don't understand. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you, Lockie. Now, the next person is Denise Smith, who asks about family. And I'm throwing the cards. So I'm just clearing them between each read. We've got 44 comments. What's this? Excuse me. Lauren says, I have been having joint pains and more headaches than usual. Mozzies in my area have Ross River virus. Oh, great. One of the first signs is joint aches. Hope it's not that. Well, I would see a doctor. I'm not going to say it's that, but I would see a doctor. Okay. So we have Denise Smith, who wants to know about family. Okay. Now, there appears to be some teamwork that I sense about to happen in regards of your family situation. I feel that this is a time of sitting down, talking things out with people around you. Someone may be trying to avoid confrontation. It may be you, because I get that feeling of, I know that we should sort things out, or I know something should be sorted out as a particular way, but I just can't bring myself to confront that. I'm being shown a person who is starting to avoid people. This may be someone avoiding you or vice versa. Again, only you will know. But I do see that there is an opportunity of sitting down, talking things over, but I do get restlessness. So it's a very difficult month in regards of family from what I'm seeing, because I feel like there's some objections around this. Someone who appears to be, it's sort of like they change topics. I just get that feeling of, I don't want to listen. I'd rather just, go out or get away from everybody, just take what I can, escape this situation. I also feel like, I don't know whether you feel like you're walking on eggshells, because it's like a tippy-toeing kind of feeling around certain topics or certain people. I see, I'm being shown people that seem to be like huddled together, if that makes sense to you. So I don't know whether there's like, it's like a meeting or a gathering of people in regards of family, because I'm trying to connect all this in regards of what I see through this particular card. And I'll show you the card that I have here. It's the Seven of Swords. So when I look at that and I'm focusing, because I don't go by textbooks, I don't care what they write, that's their interpretation. I have my own interpretations. I feel what these cards are actually telling me. And as you can see from the way that he's walking, it looks like he's tippy-toeing. He doesn't want to disturb anyone. He doesn't want anyone to know what's going on. He's like, you know, just let me get out of here. So if this is making sense to you in regards of family, Denise, you'll understand what that means. But I feel like it's a time of probably, you know, maybe that's suggesting to you, just cut your losses. You know, it's like fighting, you know, against somebody who just won't listen, or it's pointless going on. Because if you're also talking about the same thing and it's getting to the point where it's had its day, maybe it's time to change your subjects. Maybe it's just time to just drop it and carry on doing other things, you know, so that you're not in anybody's way. You're not having to deal. I see two people for some reason also. But I feel like there's various homes around this. So I'm not seeing whether there's like more than two homes of family connected with this, like three in particular, but I'm actually being shown that it's like people are all sitting around together. I don't know whether they're all, you know, talking about what's going on or talking about you as an example. Only you know what this means. So hopefully, is that lights flashed? What lights? It makes perfect sense. Oh, the lights behind me flashed, did they? Okay, so I'm glad that makes sense to you, because one thing that I find when I do a single read, which is one card, it's like as I'm doing that, I'm just getting all these other things that just bang, 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 bang. And sometimes they sort of like mix over from what I'm seeing in the card itself, but I've got to go with it. So hopefully it makes sense to you. So that was yours, Denise Smith, and her topic was family. We have Sonia Kelly, who first wanted to talk about family, but no, she decided, let's talk about the finances, because maybe the family are draining my finances, so I know enough about them. Okay, let's see what comes up. Alrighty. Finances. You know, I was really expecting more people to put love, because lately the readings that I've been doing of love. Does he love me? Will he come back? Am I meant to be with him? Am I meant to be with her? Will she love me? Will she end up loving me? Oh, and I'm like, these are the questions at the end of the reading. And through the reading, it's like, you know, that's a no-go zone. Don't want to know. All right. So Sonia Kelly. Well, I actually feel that in regards of finances, there appears to be a new direction taking place. I feel that it's like beginning to enjoy the opportunities or beginning to enjoy what you do. What I see here is that feeling of the cup beginning to overflow, having what you want, having that, having that opportunity to move forward with the finances. What I am actually being shown in this picture, which usually connects to love, and I'm going to show you this card. We have the Knight of Cups. So if you have a look at the Knight of Cups, he's very proud. His horse is proud, which indicates that it's like that, I feel confident. I'm moving in the right direction. I feel like I'm starting to sort of, find my footing. The horse is looking down, paying attention to every step it's taking towards that goal or where it needs to go. It's not looking up. And it doesn't even feel in any way that, like as I look at the rider, he's smiling, but it also tells me, because he's got that, that armor on him, there's something fishy about this particular card. And I'm going to share with you what I feel in regards of the Knight. Now, the Knight always talks about swift action, decisions, moving forward. Sometimes the Knight can also signify deception, things that you need to look out for. Sometimes I look at this particular card as the smile that is being, hiding behind that smile. There is deception. There's a need to be careful of the choices and decisions. Now, this rider, if you also have a look at him, he looks very out of proportion. Look at those legs. Doesn't that remind you of that king from Shrek? Have a look at the legs. Seriously, has he been plonked onto this? What this tells me is that when I'm connecting that with finances in the particular, it can also tell you that you may fall short of what you want. So again, when we look at this, it is a moving forward card. But with this particular Knight, he's coming and going. He's sort of like, the wishy-washy type. He's in between. So this may also be indicating something about you being in between new finances and new beginnings and new opportunities. So what I see here with the short legs that this one has, and no offense to anyone out there with short legs, you're all lovely people. You're just closer to the ground. What I see here is that this is a chance for you to make headway. I feel that this is where, if you look at being saddled up, even on his helmet, he's got the wings. Look at that. The wings. How fast can you go with wings on your helmet and wings on your heels? Look at that. This is representing you, Sonia. Aren't you sorry you didn't just go with family? This is representing you. You're going to be moving forward, but there's also going to be the love of what you want to do. So what I feel with that is you're moving in a direction which is going to help you climb mountains. It's going to help you cross, that river. It's sort of getting you in a new area. It can actually indicate, finding your emotions connected with your work. There needs to be the balance. There also needs to be that, be strong-willed about what you want to do. What I feel here is also with the emotions, we've got something that changes around this particular card. And what I feel with that, as I look at it, and I'll hold the card up so you can see as I describe it. Well, Are we holding it there? Okay, so when we look at this particular card, see at the bottom here, we've got the water. I usually connect water with emotions, duh. And of course, we've got the mountains over here, this way. So the mountains here, that's where he's heading. So this is sort of like an opportunity to climb, if you want to put it that way. So in regards of finances, I would actually say there's a bit of a challenge, but there is promise of climbing, and reaching your goals. But keep your goals easy. Don't let them be emotional. So when we look at that water there, it could be that in front of you, you've got to set your emotions aside, because at the front of this are the emotions. So it may be that you're making emotional choices, or you're making emotional decisions when it comes to work. Are you giving more to a particular employer, as an example? Are you doing shift work, as an example? Is this going to be in a position where you're starting to neglect other things in your life? So when we look at this knight, although he's got those wings and he's ready to hit the deck running, this is also saying pay attention. There may be some things that you need to read properly if it comes to signing things, because this smiling face, let me just try and focus on him. There we go. This smiling face looks like he can, do whatever he wants to do, but there's something about him that I don't trust. I don't trust him. I don't trust you. Go away. And what I see is with the horse, he is like your goal. He's what's driving you forward, but you've also got to be prepared. Now, I'm going to twist this around. If this is actually representing just a soul journey that you're taking in your life now about decisions where finances are concerned, you might need to start isolating things. Focus on what is the most important thing. So if you think about the fact he's holding one cup, this may be the opportunity that comes where you connect with passion of what you do and new direction, which means new beginnings. So when we look at that, there is changes. It's a moving forward, but there's also those mountains to climb. If you're prepared to do that, you will succeed, but you've got to put your emotions aside when it comes to that. So hopefully you'll understand what that means, says Sonia. You've got short legs. Really? Okay. The spirit having a joke with you. Who knows? All right. Kim Hutchinson wants to know about health. I can't believe you're right. I've got short legs too. All right. Kim Hutchinson wants to know about health. Focus, focus. Okay. All right. Now, I do actually see that there appears to be an opportunity of improvement in regards of health itself. If you've been feeling emotional with your health, and I'm going to show you the card. Excuse me. All right. If you have a look at this card, if you have a look at this card, we have the water on one side, very calm, and the water on this side, I'm trying to work back to front here. The water on this side is very ripply, which means that we connect with emotions. The swords in particular are the mind. The mind needs to relax. Again, it goes back to anything connecting to the mind. It could actually be that you need to get more fresh air. Maybe you need to get away. Maybe you need to take a break. Some people, when I see this in regarding health, it's like they just feel overburdened. They feel like there's challenges around them. Their mind seems to be focused on other things, like whether it be connecting with the past in some respect. It can actually show up as the swords. Have you got a fan going? Yes, I've got a fan going. It's my portable air conditioner, because down here it does get pretty warm, and especially with that, this particular room closed off for the day, it contains the heat because the sun is directly on it. So going back to here, let me just adjust the volume so you may. Does that make a difference? Does that help? Or give me a second. Let me just shift. Okay, that might help. Is that better? Oh, the curtain is moving. Yes, the curtain's moving because we've got air in the room moving around. Okay, so we're going back to Kim Hutchinson in regards of health. So in particular, what I see here is you do need a break. Sometimes you may need to just completely turn your back on, things that are troubling you or wearing you down. Whatever has been worrying you, it's like you've got to start moving forward. Now, what's interesting about this particular card, and I will hold that up again, is we have a woman, and right beside her is a little person that usually is a child in this particular image. And it indicates here that they have to get away from things. Maybe there's worry around a child with you. Maybe there's and I'm just saying maybe because of the fact that I'm just doing the surface reading. But what I feel is that you are starting to move into a different direction in regards of health. So if we're looking at about the 6 month here, I would actually connect that with June, January, February, March, April, May, June. So if we're looking at June in particular, or July, so I would actually switch into those two areas. This might be a turnabout of your circumstances, but we are focusing on the month of March. So it may be a lot sooner than what is down here. I actually feel that you'll also need to start looking at more healthier things. If you eat meat, you might have to cut back on meat. You might have to start, removing some toxins out of your body. Sometimes people do a liver cleanse. They start changing their diet, or they start, exercising more, getting out. But this particular card, it does show a lot of worry. And again, in regards of health, it may be a issue with stress that is associated with this, or feeling just run down, lethargic, not being able to think properly, focusing on, what you've done and going over things and over, so hopefully this is making sense to you. And that was Kim Hutchinson. Okay. Okay. So I'm glad that these are making sense to you, especially with Sonia and her short legs. How am I going to forget that now? All right. Brooke Leanne wants to know about family. So let's see what we get. Okay. Now, we've actually got here the Ace of Pentacles. And when I see this, we've got in the background, we've got the ivy. We've also got a little archway, which is taking us into mountains and all that in the background. But the thing is, though, we have to ask, are they mountains or are they waves? Now, I'm going to show you what I mean. So let me just point it out for you. If I can, okay, so here, which way am I going? Here's the arch, and I'm going the wrong way. Here's the arch, and in the background, see that? It looks like, I'm trying to, it's like what I'm seeing on the screen is the opposite to what's on here. So it looks like there's mountains in the background, but it actually appears more like waves, which indicates that through this, if we follow the golden path, if we're looking at security and everything like that within the family, what this indicates is there's new beginnings, there's new blessings to come. But it's also saying that behind the new beginnings that are happening, there's also a lot of emotion. So if I'm looking at that as a family situation, it could be that, you know, although there's something new beginning, there may be a lot to, what's that? Who are up to now? My PH dropped out. Okay. We're up to Brooke Leanne, whose PH just dropped out. So Brooke, I'll just show you again. Here we have the Ace of Pentacles. And as you can see, there's a little archway there in the background. And behind that, what looks like pH levels dropping out. No, it looks like water, but it's not. It may be mountains. But in this case, it can be one of two things. When we look at the aces, they always talk about new births, new beginnings. And we're focusing on family here. So Spirit, I asked them to show me for the month of March, what is focused around family with you? What do you need to know? And they're saying there is new beginning, there's new opportunity, there's new blossoming of communication going on. It's like you're starting to move forward. You've got that opportunity of walking through and, you know, confronting things or seeing things in a new way, because it's like beyond that hedge, if you want to put it that way, and I'll hold the card up so you know what I'm talking about. Beyond that hedge is a new way of life. And it could be that you're going to face an emotional journey within family, or it may be that you've got some mountains there. So these mountains may be obstacles. They seem to pose only in that vicinity where there's that archway. So when I look at that, and we've also got the hand that offers, you know, that promise of new beginnings and security, this can also relate to security as in home, looking at doing investment, looking at securing a new property and premises. What I feel around this also is that there's blessings in disguise that are coming here, but don't don't sort of like bring yourself to a point where you're being hit with a mountain of trouble or worries. You've got to start, you know, smelling the roses along the way, so to speak. If we have a look at we've got little, what is that, dandelion? No, bluebirds. Bluebirds. I can't remember their name. But we've got these flowers that are actually gracing along the path and standing back. And with the path, it's not trimmed properly, which means that it's very well worn and lived in. It's sort of like looking at in someone's garden. So I look at that as property, premises, new blessings, new beginnings. So hopefully that makes sense to you. This is for Brooke Leanne regarding family. Catherine, I've closed it. I can't, because otherwise I'm going to go over time too much. Next time you'll have to be You'll have to be quick. So Brooke Leanne, this does indicate new beginnings around this, but there's going to be a few little obstacles you've got to get past. It may be that you've got to start appreciating what you've got before you meet those obstacles. Sometimes we're better off staying in our own front yard, if that makes sense to you, instead of inviting other people's issues into our life, especially when it comes to family, because every card tells a story. Every card has so many different levels that is on it, and when you really embrace what's coming through that card, it's like it's telling a complete story for you. Sometimes if we look at that, through that archway, and we've got these mountains or these great waves that are appearing, it may be suggesting that this is beyond your front door. There are outsiders who create the problems. When it comes to family, you've got to keep everyone close. You've got to start, making things blossom within your own front yard, if that makes sense. Don't worry about neighbors. Don't worry about friends. Don't worry about other people. Just focus on what you've got. And in regards to family, this shows promise. This shows new beginnings and new opportunities. And so I hope that makes sense to you. So that was yours, Brooke Leanne. Next one is Crystal. It makes sense. Wonderful. So Crystal Elizabeth Graham, who is also asking about family. Okay, Spirit. Okay, well, it actually is a good sign. We've got the 9 of Pentacles. As you can see, this person's very sure of themselves. Look at that robe. And see that bird that is on his hand? This is like the bird of wisdom, who looks like it's got a pumpkin head. That's how I describe them in the cards. I was talking to my daughter about them, and we're describing some of the characters, and we were in hysterics. But anyway, and just for the record, my daughter has got her very first tarot deck, and she's 11, and already she's scaring me because of the things that she's picking up. So guess who's going to follow in Mama's footsteps? Okay, so here, and I always say to her to bless them first and pray that God watches over and the angels and so on, and not let anything negative come through. So in this particular image, look what is right down in this corner, right there. That's what we need to look at. It's a snail. Now, when we're looking at situations regarding family here, although you seem pleased with yourself and everything seems to be going fine, in this particular instance, you also need to slow down. And that's the symbol of the snail. Take things slow, take things steady. Don't try to, jump forward too much. The old saying, don't count your chickens until they've hatched. This is what it applies, because although you feel like you're almost at your goal, some people get very impatient and they get very cocky. And when they start to get cocky, that's when things go kaput. It's like they begin procrastinating about, what they should share among others and so on. And I feel like in this particular case, this card is actually saying, in regards to family, it's time for you to be a little selfish. And it's like that bird of wisdom giving you permission, that bird with the pumpkin head. Look at that head. Where is it? Let me just focus on that. That is a pumpkin head. Okay, it looks like he's actually wearing headphones, doesn't it? very sneaky little headphones in these old cards. So if I look at that and I look at the traditional symbol, you know, from what I'm seeing here and also what I'm feeling, and I really examine each card, this is like saying to the person having the reading, block out the trouble, block out the gossip. It's your time. It's okay to be a little selfish. In regards of family, they'll work things out for themselves. It's also showing a lot of fertility around here. So family, it's like, you know, things almost reaching their goal. And that bird, when you think about birds, they're also indicating spiritual blessings. Ever picked up a feather? Then you'll understand. So with birds, and we've also got a lot to do with, you know, the trees, and we've also got the grapes, which are the fertility signs. If you have a look in the background, we've got grapes everywhere. This is like having what you want, feeling very happy. In the background, over on the right of the screen, your way, you can actually see the house in the background. The house is pretty much, you know, very covered in a lot of way because it's actually got, you know, the trees around it and everything like that. So it's camouflaged. And if you have a look also around here, right in there behind that, see that little blue thing sneaking? Okay, so that usually is indicated of shade on that particular leaf, but I look at that as something else. And if you have a look up here, where am I? Up. Here, you'll actually see a little face in there. Now, this little face, to me, is indicative of be careful of the arsehole spirits. This is what I look at. When I examine these cards in particular, this could be a time where just when you think everything's going fine, suddenly you have disruptions. And these little disruptions, they can embarrass people. It could be, for example, a child throwing a tantrum in public. And who hasn't been there or who has been there? So in these particular cases, know that just when you think everything's going fine, be ready at all times for whatever may go wrong. If you are hiding away, so to speak, and you're giving this impression to everyone that everything's fine, sometimes it's a disguise. It's like you're camouflaging things. So when I look at that card in regards of family, it could be suggesting here that there may be some things that you have yet to discover within family that is going to come out very soon. And if it's not already there, it's presenting itself slowly. It's like that camouflage being exposed. Mine's throwing one now. Throwing. Hang on. What have I missed? Reading your comments. Okay, still on Crystal Elizabeth Graham. She's taking after you. Oh, that's awesome. Yep, mine's throwing one now. What's throwing one? I don't understand. Okay, so we go back to Crystal Elizabeth Graham, and in regards of this, I actually feel that you've just got to be on guard. Take things slowly. Don't rush things. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't lose yourself in the moment, in other words, but also know that this is your time. This is your time to, you know, just tune out, to sort of like tune out, put on some headphones or something, relax. Try not to get too anxious, but don't also get to a point where you're becoming, like with high expectations within the family and so on. So hopefully this is making sense to you. I'm throwing a tantrum. Okay. Poor bugger. All right, so the next one, that was yours, Crystal. Hopefully that will make sense. If it's not making sense already, just know that March is when this is going to all happen. Jumana El Chami wants to know about love, which I'm not surprised. She's just got that energy about her that I feel is always focused on love. Okay. Alrighty. Now I'm going to focus. Jumana El Chami. El Chami. Okay, Spirit. All right. Interesting. For your, sorry, I've got these little fine hairs. Okay. You have also got the Hanged Man. And when we focus that on love, it may also give a very similar description of what we got earlier. What was that to do with family that came up? In regards of love, it may be that you've got to do things differently. Change the way you're doing things. Change the way that you're presenting yourself in some form. If that is like you're doing the same thing over and over and nothing's happening, then maybe you've got to change something. Maybe you've got to switch something up. If it comes to, an invitation as an example, oh gosh, sorry. If it comes to an invitation and you're like, no, I don't want to go, or I don't want to, be a part of this, then it may be suggesting to you that you've got to start, doing things a little different. If you feel the answer is no, do the opposite. So this is a time of switching it up for the month of March when it comes to love. Do what you would not normally do. I'm not saying you go out there and just, sleep with every person there is. But what I'm saying here is you've got to change something. You've got to start, doing things the opposite, if that makes sense to you. But do them morally. When I look at this card also, and I'm referring to this to love, I do see new opportunities beginning to blossom. But you've also got some delays. Sometimes these delays are designed by fate. The old saying is, let the winds of heaven dance between you. I don't know whether you saw the share on the page in regards of someone is manifesting you in their life right now. Don't give up, but also start looking at, okay, if I have been doing this over and over and that hasn't worked, maybe I need to change it. Maybe I need to change something about the way I'm doing things. If, for example, you're meeting people, and I'm just using this as an example, and you're talking about your exes, or you're talking about all the things and the things that just didn't work out, or whatever it might be, even if you are just going off at the mouth and you're losing track like I am right now. No, I'm joking. When you're starting to talk more towards in a relationship, it's good that you're talking, but I feel like you seem to be opening up a can of worms. It's like I'm showing everybody myself before they've got a chance to really get to know me. And you've got to leave a bit of mystery there. You have to leave a mystery around you. The important thing is, from this particular card, when I connect that with love, it usually tells me that this is where you need to be more attentive to what's happening with the other person. Get them to talk more about themselves so that you can pay attention and you can lean in and really get to know that person. But keep a mystery. Don't tell them everything about you. Whatever happened before you met them is irrelevant. They only need to know you from the time they met you. I feel that in some way it's like you try to sort of keep certain things out of your topic of communication. These may also be very important. What I see around this also is this particular person, if we look at them from another angle, I'm going to show you. All right, see, he's hanging upside down. But watch what happens when we flip it over. Now, I never read reverse, but in this particular case, it looks like he is celebrating. If you have a look at the dancers, so to speak, that, you know, it's like ballet, if you want to put that. I'm not saying you're going to meet a ballet dancer, by the way, but what I'm saying is be graceful, do things differently. And I'm not saying you're not graceful when you meet people, but think of it as, okay, what do I feel I need to share in a relationship, and what can be left till later? What is most important? So again, it comes down to organizing. Take the time to get to know people. Don't, you know, rush into things, which is another thing with the actual Hanged Man. He's suspended by one foot. This is a time of suspension, a time of delay, a time of, you know, changing, to, you know, making more progress, not revealing your hand, if you want to put it that way. If you are looking at settling down with somebody, don't seem anxious. Don't come across as a clingy type. Don't constantly message them and ask them where they are, or, you know, keep them to a deadline kind of thing. You've got to be flexible. You've got to keep them running after you. Take it from me, that's what you do when it comes to relationships. They have to chase you. If the woman is turning around chasing a man, it's sort of, I know it's a different age and I get it, but in my day, you ask anyone in my age, in my day, you expected to be treated like a lady. You know, I remember standing at the door of a car and I would not get in until he got out and walked around and opened it for me. If you expect someone to treat you with respect, you've also got to give it back as well. You've got to keep it all equal. But what I feel here is this card is telling you that you've got to slow down. You've got to look at things very differently in your life. What are you prioritizing, which is, you know, taking more of your time? It may be that you're needing to pace yourself. You may need to look at, you know, meeting a different type of person. If you're hanging around the same type of scene, maybe you need a different type of scene. You know, maybe that's not where you're going to meet the person. And when you look at this card also, if you have a look at the halo around his head, and you see his hairs hanging down, flying in the wind, well, that halo is also symbolic for faith and being pure of mind. So if we think about the halo around a person's head, or the aura, and the brighter it is, the more clarity we have. This is also indicating with me, when I look at that regarding love or anything connecting with love, it tells me that person has to be clear about what they really want. They have to not be umming and ahhing, you know, do I want this person? Do I want to see them? Do I want to talk to them? You know, whatever it is. If you get bored with people quickly as well, or they get bored of you quickly, something has to change. So I'll leave that with you. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's for the month of March. Just take your time. It's not saying that you're not going to have love. It's just saying that you've got to have a different approach. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, goodbye, Danny. Thank you for staying as long as you could. Okay. I'll have to say good night to everybody. My phone and internet are playing up badly. Well, you can listen back to it later. Hopefully the live stream isn't too bad. I don't know how it's turning out because I'm going directly through Facebook, but you know what I think of Facebook. All right, so that was yours, Jumana. The next person is Ellen Lurie, who's focused on health. So I'm going to ask Spirit, please. Okay. Okay, now what I'm actually being shown here is we've got the Two of Cups. Now, normally this would turn up in a relationship. Many people look at that as a relationship. But if you have a look at the symbol beneath the head of the lion, it's almost representing that symbol that we see very common with health. Can you see that? I'm trying to get it to focus. Come on. There we go. See that symbol? Very similar to, you know, when we look at health and everything like that. Usually they have like the sword down the middle and the, you know, what looks like a snake around that. Well, this particular card is saying that this is a time where health is going to be reconciled with itself. Whatever's going on, it's like, you know, if there's been misdiagnosis or things not, you know, being tried and tested or whatever it might be, this is where you find answers. You get some type of resolution. Now, the head of the lion with wings is very symbolic for there is power behind this. There's strength. There is something that's starting to get into action. And it also needs some serious attitude and insight. So it may be that you may need to look at a more serious approach to getting something done. If you're not happy with a particular doctor, or you say, for example, you are on medication, if you're not happy with it, or you're not feeling like it's doing what it's supposed to do, or you're not getting any benefit from it, then this may actually be saying, okay, it's time to be serious about your health. It's time to be focused on doing what is best for you. Stop playing in their hands and just nodding and saying, yeah, okay, well, you know, I'll do what you say. It's not saying go against their orders, but maybe get a second opinion. So when we look at the two people, there's a person coming to the other. They seem to be communicating. One has their hand outreach, which is a sign of help and comfort, and offering, you know, some, let me just try and focus on this. Oh dear, focus. See, that one has his hand reached out. It's as though they're saying everything's going to be fine. We're going to get this sorted out. You know, you're in good hands. I'm not going to let you down. And this is a person wearing a dress. It's a male. I just thought I'd point that out. This is very old school. So if you find a person wearing a dress, you're in the right hands. And what I see here is that they're going to be giving you some, you know, some good news. It's sort of like, you know, we're looking after you, where we've got everything, you know, the way it should be. This person that is wearing the longer clothes, I actually would see that to represent you symbolically. They appear to be a lot more calmer. When you look at the blue, what they've got on, this may also indicate there may be, you know, a visit to the hospital around this. So that looks, if you look at it very closely, it looks like a hospital robe. But instead of being open at the back to reveal your buttocks, it is actually open around the side. Getting a little bit playful with the cards tonight, but hopefully you'll understand what this is all meaning. I have a look at this also in regards of the fact they're standing on a road, which means that they're on neutral ground. It's like someone you could communicate with, so I'll just show you that again. As you can see, they're standing on a road. There's a mutual ground there. One's not, you know, up higher than the other. They're not seated in front of a desk between them, which, still may be the case. But they've got these cups there, which is they're showing empathy, they're showing understanding. There's healing that's generated above with the head of the lion and the wings. So it does show more of a spiritual connection with this person. It may also be, having a more healthier approach, like holistic medicine, herbs, things like that are going to be more better for your body. It could also be indicating with the green in the background that a change of diet may be indicated with this. So it could be eating more greens, getting more fresh air, doing things that are going to help clear the lungs and clear, anything that may be within the body itself that's causing it to feel run down and drained. But I actually feel that you're in good hands with what this card is indicating, and it is actually quite a positive card when it comes to health, from what I feel. So hopefully that helps you, and that's for the month of March. It's going good, the internet? Good. Let's hope it's recording okay and not pixelating me. Now the next person is Tennille Rogers. Very lucky last to pull up my heartstrings and get that opportunity. So let's see what happens with Tennille and love. Okay, Tennille Rogers. Okay. All right, now I have to be honest here, Tennille. We've got the 9. We've got the 9 of Swords. If you have a look at this card, this person, there's a lot of restlessness, a lot of broken sleep with this person. They're also worrying constantly over things. So as far as relationships go, I don't know whether you're already going through this, but it's like that feeling of worry, restlessness, thinking the worst. Swords are always associated with the mind, the air element. This can also indicate connections with people who are Gemini, that type of thing, all those air signs basically. When I look at this a little closer, beneath this particular person, they're lying on this very solid type of bed. And it may be that when we're looking at love, if you've been feeling like, I just give up, I give up on love, that's what's being reflected through this card. Now, if you give up, you're giving up on that energy coming to you, which is, the universe provides what you put out. So when I look at this, I get the feeling that what this is saying is you've resorted to the fact that you're not going to have love. And that's a pretty sad thing when you look at this card. It may be that you're using excuses, that I don't have time. I don't have time to be, in love. I don't have time to be meeting anybody. I don't have time to be, to be happy when it comes to relationships. I'm just, there to be there for everybody else. And the sad thing is, this person's having the epiphany moment where it's like sudden realization that I'm alone. I feel so alone, and I want to break this. I just want to let go of all these negative thoughts that are weighing upon me, all these swords on the wall, so to speak, your negative thoughts that you're putting out to the universe. You've got to start changing that, because you will attract whatever you believe in. And this is showing through this particular card, and this is for Tennille. So I hope you're still watching, Tennille. This is actually showing that you can't give up. There is hope. There is that opportunity for you. Look at that bedspread. Now, this is the hidden message here. I'm going to show you if I can zoom in. I want you to have a look at this bedspread. Not because I think it's a really nice bedspread, but oh God, zoom, focus. Hang on, is it going to? If I pull back, no. Hang on, we're getting there, we're getting there. Focus, focus, focus. Oh, look at it changing. It's like they're changing colors. Did you see that? Spirit, can you do that again? Wow, look at that. Can you make them glow? That is crazy. Okay, so I don't know whether you can see it well, but I'm trying so hard to focus on this. That's bedspread. The hidden message is there's rosebuds on it. And what do we think of when we think roses? We think love. And what this is actually telling me is even though you feel like you've got hard times around you, and I mean, look at that bed. Look, does that look hard or what? Even though you may feel as though you've got hard times around you, this is promising you that you've really got love already in your presence. You might not be noticing it because you may be so overwhelmed or preoccupied with the negative beliefs that you're not going to be happy and you're not going to have love, that it's got to that point where you're not noticing it. Your tears are falling upon what is shown as what can be comfort to you. And it's not talking about a bedspread. It's talking about the symbol of this. The many roses pictured here. And if you have a look also, and I don't know whether it can focus, I want it to focus. There are symbols of all the astrical signs on there. We've got Taurus. We've got, where are we? I was just trying to get it to focus, this stupid thing. We've got all the star signs amongst that blue area. So in each square, we've got certain star signs. And this is showing me that the potential of meeting someone and having love around you, a very strong love that you can be happy with, is there. You are not meant to be alone, Tennille, from what this card is suggesting. First thing you've got to do is remove all those subconscious negative blocks that you've put there. And that goes back years. If I'm looking at that as a symbol of years, I would say that goes back about 9 years worth. All this has been, like placed within you, in your mind sending out these, like, I don't feel like deserve this, or I don't feel like it's going to happen. It's like obstacle, 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 obstacle. And what this is suggesting here is you do have that chance, because within you there's still that hope of having love manifest stronger in your life. I see, as I'm looking at this card even deeper, I feel that from what is being shown, and we've got the symbol, and I just wish this would focus, but right there in here, we've actually got a symbol, and I want you to have a look at this. This is like a person. Oh, God. Focus. Why are you focusing? There we go. So as you can see, there is a person who looks as though they are pushing somebody down, knocking someone down. This is over near where my finger is. So you have a look at that. This is probably where there's a bit of hesitancy as well, because that would tell me when it comes to a relationship or love and stuff like that, you've been hurt, you've been knocked down, and you've been, like if I'm to use the example here, it would be showing a person who, they've tried to do the right thing by others, but people hurt them. And what this is saying is you've got to start removing that, probably forgive that person as hard as it is, because you need to move on. You need to embrace that love that is there, ready to be taken and accepted from you and reciprocated. And you've got to remove all those negative blocks, because they are ruling you. They are preventing you from seeing anything positive for yourself. And you've got that. You've got it around you. And the beautiful thing with this message is you've got to stop feeling that you don't deserve it. So I really do hope that this is connected with you. It is a very powerful card. Every card, as I mentioned, has so many different levels and stories within it. And what I feel is that you've got to stop punishing yourself or feeling cut out, that you're not going to have that, because what this is saying is that you've got the opportunity to meet anybody. But it's like you're holding yourself back, either by judging yourself or self-persecution, or feeling that, you aren't going to. So when you're thinking that, you will manifest whatever you're thinking. So hopefully this is going to help you begin changing that attitude and start, looking back and reflecting on, okay, this person hurt me, that person hurt me, and I let them hurt me. And now I'm not going to let that past hurt me anymore. I'm taking control back. I'm embracing the love that is there from the universe, ready to be wrapped around me. So as you look at it, the bedspread, which is here, and it's showing those flowers, those roses, they're blossoming. You've got that opportunity of love blossoming around you. And this person could be of any star sign. You can actually connect well with any star sign. I feel like you're very good at talking with people, but you also are very self-aware. It's like you've got this self-conscious feeling that it's like, I don't know how to express myself. And if I do express myself, am I coming across this way? It's like you're judging yourself. So start changing that, and let the miracles begin to work in your life. So I hope that's helped you. And that was our final person for tonight, Tennille Rogers. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed tonight. It's now 9:25 and I've got a 10. I'm doing really good in the timing. I've got a 10 o'clock coming up. So this will give me time to do a pre-read, because I just got a message saying you've got 10 o'clock. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me see if I missed any comments. No notifications. Oh, hi, Tonya. Thank you for joining. I hope everyone enjoyed the readings tonight. This was for the month of March, and I'm so glad that it helps you, Tennille. Just remember what I said. It's up to you now. You have that around you. You can have what you want, but you've got to let go of all those subconscious negative thoughts. Don't let them stop you from being happy. So anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to have something to eat first and then get into my next reading. So have a lovely weekend. Please be safe, and I will see you next fortnight, and we'll be discussing a topic, or maybe I'll surprise you. I'll see you there.